We will start here with our show sires screen, which is the first screen that pops up when you use the program, and it is an interface that allows you to look up particular bulls, proven bulls, genomic young bulls, or older bulls using names or registration numbers or NAAB codes. We can see here that we have a search box along with an ability to change what we're searching for and different databases that we can look at. The default is the available bulls, which are proven bulls that have semen available and that's actively being marketed. We could search here for a bull by name, so we'll type planet in and we'll get results. Now the planet bull comes up here. We can see this is the bull we're looking for. It shows his NAB number and his registration number along with his name, and we can look at his individual screen. We can search by NAB numbers. We can look up genomic young bulls by selecting that for bulls that don't have any daughters in their proof but are being marketed. That's a new area in the program starting in August. The bulls had been in the program before, but they hadn't been separated out into their own searchable group, and that's a new feature. The sire dictionary has all the bulls within the program, including the proven bulls, genomic young bulls that aren't being actively marketed, and some older bulls that go back over 20 years. And those are used for historical purposes, and in the inbreeding section of the MultiMate program, which we'll talk about later. But let's take a look at Planet's individual screens. These are screens that have information similar to what's in the printed version of the Red Book. There's some more fields, as we'll see as we go through, than what's able to be printed in the Red Book. Plus, you got this information on all kinds of bulls that aren't in the printed Red Book. So there's similar information, but there's more here in the Red Book Plus program. So we can get to him either by double-clicking on his name or clicking on the Show button. So we'll do that, and we will get here what we call our bull details screen, which has some multiple tabs with information about the particular bull. We start here on the Overview tab, which has general ID information along with some of the TPI components for the bull, controller, and the price that we've received that he's being marketed at. At the top, we can see on every page, we can see his basic ID information along with his TPI, his genomic tested status, that's what the G is, and a change in his TPI from the last time, which is 31. As we move along here, we have a genetics tab, which has some information similar to what's on the other tab, but we're more in depth here with most of the production traits and health traits and the type traits and the composites, along with the actual PTA values, the change from the last time, reliability numbers, daughters in herds for all these different traits. And the next tab is the type traits tab, which has all of the linear type traits along with their description. As we can see, for strength, we have a negative number, so our description is frail as opposed to strong, which would show up if we were doing a positive number. And then the common bar graphs we're used to seeing in the bull blocks in the Red Book. And one good feature here about the Red Book Plus program is we have that information on bulls that we aren't able to publish in the printed version of the Red Book. You can see those graphs and compare them on some of the genomic young bulls or any bulls that are in the program that may not have that full bull block area in the printed Red Book. On the pedigree tab, we have an extended 3 generations of pedigree behind the bull, which is once again what's used later in the MultiMate in order to avoid inbreeding. We have some inbreeding information, as you can see here in the red, inbreeding percent and then expected future inbreeding. And then some of these animals, like the dam here, we can see by clicking on that teal box some information for her, classification score, PTAs for production and type, and lactation information. And we have that on the dam and the sire and the maternal grand dam. Moving on to the next tab, we have the Other tab, which is a collection of some information of raw averages for production and type, as we can see here with the daughter and group production averages and the average classification score, along with calving ease and stillbirth information and pregnancy rate, some more in-depth health trait information, AAA and DMS scores that have been reported to us, conception rate information, haplotypes impacting fertility information. We can see we have T's for tested free, and we would have C's in there for carriers. And then we have user-defined fields that can be entered by the user, and trait index calculations that we'll show a little later as far as how those get populated, but those are user-derived information from particular formulas. On the confidence tab, we have daughter and herd information for all of the traits, along with reliabilities for production and health traits and type, along with a confidence range, and then the expected index range based on that confidence range. The 99% reliable planet here has a confidence range for milk of 56, so we can see that while his index for milk is 2323, we can expect his actual PTA information to be somewhere in between the 2267 and the 2379. That's what the confidence range is, and that number would get larger if he had a lower reliability. We have a question regarding the change in the TPI information. We can see here, or change in any information. If we look at the 31 here for planet for TPI, that means he's changed 31, increased 31 from the previous run. If we look at his information on the change for traits, we can see that most all of them are green because they all went up, but in the case of body composite, he decreased, so that's in red. We would see that number in red if it was a decrease. The G is always in that color just to make a distinguishing between the different characters up there. So that's what we're looking at as far as the change is concerned in the color coding. On the bull detail screen, we can pull up multiple screens so we can compare bulls back and forth. Here we'll search for a nav code number, and we'll bring up another screen, and then we have two tabs, and like if we want to compare the type traits for these two particular bulls in the graphs, we can have two tabs and we can move back and forth, and we can open up to 3 of those and make the comparisons, so it's easy to look between two bulls if that's something that the user is interested in doing.